Good morning, St. Thomas and Grace community. This is Reverend Rachel. I'm reaching out to you today from what is becoming affectionately known as my indoor tree house. It's a familiar spot for some of you because one of my other meditations was filmed here, and you can see out the back some of our apple trees. And I don't know if you can see them, but our beehive is right out there, so the girls are all with us as well. And my cat is extremely vocal today, so she will probably be a consistent presence for our meditation, which could be very exciting. So for today, given the excitement that is happening in the earth right now, all of the new life that is being born and emerging from the ground, I thought it would be nice to have a moment of stillness. Also, for the last couple weeks, we've been engaging in a lot of practices that are either involving moving the body or singing or being outside, a lot of things that really engage the senses and the feelings. And this is a conscious move on my part because so much of our culture traps us in our mind and helps us forget that we have a body, that the way our body appears matters and is important, and that our body is a vehicle for our relationship to God. So today, I thought, since we've done a lot of body, that we might do a little bit of mind. And what I am drawn to this morning is a practice that is extremely popular. Many of you have probably heard of it. I think I've mentioned it previously. So I would welcome any things that you try on when you do this practice or experiences that you've had. Please let me know, and I'd love to hear about them. So this is a practice called centering prayer, and it's attributed widely to Thomas Keating, who was a Trappist monk who actually had roots in both Yale Divinity School and then Fordham. But he spent time sharing and crafting and being open to the Spirit through this particular practice of sitting and being still, quieting the mind, and letting go and opening oneself to God. So I'll just speak for a brief few moments about that practice, and then I'll go ahead and queue up. I'll do a 5-minute meditation, and I encourage you to do 5 minutes. I think, as I've mentioned in other quieter meditative practices, 20 is often recommended. It's a length of time where we can go through the initial stillness, and then get a bit jittery, and then return to stillness. And often it might end us in allow us to have our minds quiet into a deeper space of openness with God. But 5 minutes because I think staring at a screen of someone sitting silently for 20 minutes would be a bit much even for me as well. So we'll do 5 together. And then I'll close with a prayer. So I might be repeating myself, but I'll just go for it. So things that I've found helpful when I engage with centering prayer, and as with all of these practices, bears saying again, there's no right way to, or one right way to be in relationship with God. After all, these practices are a continual opening of oneself to God. So try it on. Each of our bodies is different. All of our spiritual paths are different. So the practice and the method for each one of us will be different, even though the end goal is the same, and that is our union with God. So some things that have been helpful to me are having a phrase or a word that I can touch on, that I just repeat in my mind when I can sense that I'm starting to write grocery lists or wonder what I'm going to do with the rest of the day, or any other number of things that come up in my mind. A friend of mine talks about the brain as being like a tree full of monkeys, and the monkeys start waving the branches and jumping around and demanding attention. And a great way to navigate that when you're meditating is to just acknowledge the tree, acknowledge the monkeys, and say, "Hello, monkey," and then let it go. So we're not fighting, we're not pushing down, we're acknowledging and letting go. And I found that helpful. So a phrase or a meditation, and then just acknowledging the distractions when they come up, and then letting them go. So here is from our familiar friend John Philip Newell in the Book of Creation. He speaks at the end about the stillness of God, and I'm borrowing my phrase from Scripture, but through him as this experience of stillness. So still drawing the Celtic expression forward with us. And he offers a practice for that I'll use for getting into centering prayer. And that is, so I'll talk through it, and then when I mention the phrase that I'll use, I'll just hit start on my meditation timer and off we'll go. So he talks about finding a comfortable place to sit. Start somewhere that feels familiar, somewhere that might be low on external distractions. But if external distractions do arise, just acknowledge them and then let them go. You might sit with your legs crossed. You might sit with your feet flat on the floor. Wherever you sit, feel your hips against the chair or the support. Feel your back, your spine long up toward heaven, low rooted in the earth. And take 3 deep breaths. In and out. In and out. In and out. And as you begin to get settled into your posture, into your body, I invite you to begin to get settled in your mind. And the phrase that I will use for the next 5 minutes of meditation is, "Be still and know that I am God." Be still. Be still and know that I am God. I invite you to come back into your body. Maybe move your shoulders. Relax the muscles of your face. Open your eyes if they were closed. Maybe move a little bit of your back. Wiggle your toes. Welcome back. In closing, I would offer just a brief prayer, a brief blessing for the day. And it's a blessing that I believe we've used before, but it's for, actually we'll use this one. This one we haven't done before. But it's a blessing for as we walk through the rest of the day, as we carry this centering prayer in our hearts, through all of our encounters, and are reminded that we are with God, that through God there is peace and stillness and comfort. God, kindle thou in my heart within a flame of love to my neighbor, to my foe, to my friend, to my kindred all. O Son of the loveliest Mary, from the lowest thing that liveth, to the name that is highest of all. Bless to me, O my God, each thing mine eyes see. Bless to me, O God, each sound my ear hears. Bless to me, O God, each odor that goes to my nostrils. Bless to me, O God, each taste that goes to my lips, each note that goes to my song, each ray that guides me. Amen.